This conversation was going to happen anyway because of what's happened out at Disneyland, the measles outbreak in the country. And I'll say this at the beginning, if you're running for president, you should be prepared to be asked just about anything. Right. Your favorite color, vaccination policy, anything. You want the nuclear football? Any question is fair game. This is Chris Christie in London yesterday. He was asked if vaccines a good thing or bad thing. He kind of splits the difference.
All I can say is that we vaccinated ours. And so, that's the best expression I can give you my opinion. It's much more important, I think, what you think as a parent than what you think as a public official. And that's what we do. But I also understand that parents need to have some measure of choice in things as well. So that's the balance that the government has to decide.
It's that part where he says parents need to have some measure of choice. That's a balance the government has to decide. Christie's office, after that, Christie's office in New Jersey put out this statement. To be clear, the governor believes vaccines are an important public health protection. And with a disease like measles, there's no question kids should be vaccinated. At the same time, different states require different degrees of vaccination, which is why he was calling for a balance in which one's government should mandate. That's Chris Christie. Let's, before we start the conversation, also bring in Rand Paul. In a combative interview with CNBC on a number of subjects, Rand Paul, remember, he's an ophthalmologist, he's a doctor, an eye doctor. Listen to him here saying he has some questions about vaccines.
I've heard of many tragic cases of walking, talking, normal children who wound up with profound mental disorders after vaccines. I'm not arguing vaccines are a bad idea. I think they're a good thing. But I think the parents should have some input.
Again, the staff comes in to do some cleanup. Sergio Gore, Rand Paul's spokesman, saying Dr. Paul believes that vaccines have saved lives and should be administered to children. His children were all vaccinated. He also believes many vaccines should be voluntary and, like most medical decisions, between the doctor and the patient, not the government. Is this a fair conversation for presidential candidates? And should they be prepared to give clearer answers? I get the government distrust, especially on the Republican side and the conservative side. But when it comes to your children, especially when it comes to measles, this is a no-brainer.
I think it's a fair conversation, one, because it is something that's topical right now. Two, you do have several states that are debating this on a state level about what kind of regulation should be in place for sending your children to school. So there is a political government aspect to this. It does show you, though, how what you say as a potential presidential candidate can have so much more resonance than what you say even as a governor. What Chris Christie said is largely the same as what he has been saying in the state of New Jersey, where this has been a big topic. But when you say this and you're potentially running for president, you have to be a bit more careful with your language. And he should have probably been better prepared. When you saw them walk this back, you can tell that they got nervous about the message that this may have been sending. Just on Rand Paul, we've been talking about this a little bit. The difference between Rand Paul and Chris Christie on this is Rand Paul is a doctor. And if you're going to be saying things like, I know of children who have been affected by this, you should have some evidence to back that up. And as far as we know, that doesn't exist.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, Chris Christie, whenever you have to have a statement that says, to be clear, you know you've messed up and maybe you're not quite yet ready to be a presidential candidate yet. With Rand Paul, he literally drew a connection between autism and vaccines. There is no connection between the two. I have an autistic boy. I don't know how he got autism. I know he didn't get it from vaccines. It's these gentlemen's job as part of wanting to be a leader to educate the public, and they should be making clear to people, get your kids vaccinated and not be pandering like they both were doing.
Right. And if you want to make a distinction, let's say, for example, this came up in the last presidential cycle. Let's say if you want to say measles, mumps, absolutely, kids should be vaccinated. HPV, should a state mandate that? Some people have a different debate about that. That came up because of Rick Perry in the last committee. You have to be specific. If you're going to lay out and say there has to be a balance to candidates, you better be specific or you end up here.
Don't distort the science. Don't pretend there's a link. There's not a link.
Our conservative friend Eric Erickson writes this on Red State this morning. He's blaming this on us. He says, this is only a political issue because the press, having failed to paint the GOP as anti-women, wishes to now paint the GOP as anti-science. Before this month is out, I suspect some reporter will ask Republican candidates if they believe in a global flood and a man named Noah.
The fact is
they want to just embarrass the GOP. My answer to you, Eric, is if they have clear answers, it's over. You want to run for president, you have to answer anything. Who's your favorite team? What's your favorite color? And then serious public health issues like vaccines.
And this isn't one of these issues where you have a clear line between Democrats and Republicans necessarily on this. There are Republicans who are potentially running for president who have come down very strongly on the side of having your children vaccinated.
This is not an issue to debate. There's no debate. We know there's not a link between autism and vaccines. So if you make that link, you're going to get hammered, whether Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. There's no excuse for what what Rand Paul did in particular is not worthy of the Senate, let alone a doctor.
And to be fair, Democrats saw an opening here. They were criticizing Rand Paul and Chris Christie all day yesterday. President Obama was very clear in a weekend interview he believes kids should be vaccinated. In 2008, as a candidate, he said he understood there were some people out there suspicious about the autism thing, and people were suspicious, and you needed to heed those suspicions. Hillary Clinton issued this tweet yesterday saying the science is clear, the earth is round, the sky is blue, and vaccines work. She also added, grandmother knows best. Nice touch there. But she also, in 2008, to be fair, we're beating up the Republicans right now, she also in 2008 said there are some out there who fear
I'm sorry, John,
autism.
that doesn't excuse what the Republicans are saying now. Yes, Obama and Hillary were wrong then. The Republicans are wrong now. And they're wrong now, and they should be know better than they're wrong now. We can't excuse that. They have to, stick with the facts.
Well, I think that's a good point. And when you go back to what Obama said in particular, I mean, to talk about, again, why this is not just a clear line between Republicans and Democrats on this issue, a lot of the people who have been pushing the sort of anti-vaccine movement are celebrities, kind of liberal Hollywood types, and that was a big donor base for Obama. I can't say for certain that he was pandering to them at that point, but that is kind of the community that's been involved in this as well.
I'll say he was pandering. But he didn't at the Super Bowl. Nobody should be pandering now. Anybody who does pander should get slapped.
Should be a lesson early in the campaign, whether it's vaccines or other issues for all of the first-time presidential candidates out there. We're going to try to be fair. We're not perfect. If you see something you don't like, send it my way. I'll take it. But if you're going to run for president, specificity, specificity, specificity. Give a long answer if you have to. Don't cut things short. Spell it out clearly. And conversations like this don't happen.